Just hold 10 quant to be a millionaire. In this video, we're going to react to an interview where the founder of Quant, Gilbert Verdian, talks about the future of Quant, the QNT token, CBDCs, and also how much quant you need to be holding to be a millionaire. We're going to be looking at exactly that later on in this video. So if you do not want to miss it, make sure to watch until the end. Before we actually go any further, we are going to be reacting to this interview. But before we actually do, we are giving away one quant over the next couple videos. We're going to be choosing the winner sometime next week. All you guys got to do is like the video, which we can't check, but I guess just do it anyways. But what we can check is you subscribing to the channel and commenting down below. They're literally just saying Quant. Comment Quant down and then follow me on Twitter so I can actually DM you. I'm going to go ahead and, DM one of the guys that follow me over the last couple days and then ask you for proof about the comment. Very simple stuff, just a way to you guys getting involved a bit more within the crypto alert community. With that out of the way now, let's get straight into this interview. And before we actually get into this interview, what's happening with Quant at the moment? We're still shy of that $100 mark, which is very nice. More time for us to accumulate sub $100, which I don't think it will be around for much longer. Still sitting at that $1.2 billion market cap range, and at the moment, over the last 24 hours, there was quite a bit of volume, actually $14 million to be exact. With that out of the way now, let's get straight into this interview and give you this reaction that you guys have been waiting for.
Hey everyone, we're here at the Innovate Finance Global Summit. I'm delighted to be joined by Gilbert Verdian, who is the founder and CEO of Quant. So Gilbert, what brings you to the summit today?
Great to be here. We're a London fintech, and this is the epicenter of financial services. And what we really love about this conference is you have regulators, institutions, fintechs, and the public all in the one place, bringing together the epicenter of financial services again.
And what topic or theme was especially important for you guys today?
We're here because we're innovators in blockchain and interoperability, but more importantly, CBDCs. So we've been working with central banks to really innovate and bring together technology as a CBDC and what it means for a payment system or a financial system across the world.
And how does Quant relate to central bank digital currencies exactly?
We're the platform and the infrastructure that central banks and commercial banks can use to implement, pilot and test CBDCs and tokenized assets in an interoperable way.
And so if we think of me or just any ordinary end user, why?
Guys, before we go any further in this interview, I do want to just mention that this is actually a very recent interview. Unlike a lot of the interviews that Gilbert Verdian has done, this was this year, about 5 to 6 months ago. So a very recent interview here, so you're getting a new perspective, right, on CBDCs and how Quant will be implementing the utility towards them, right? Now, of course, we all know what the utility at the end of the day is for Quant. They're simply building a overledger. Well, they already built the Quant overledger, which will allow projects like CBDCs to utilize all blockchains under one umbrella, right? That's really what it is in simple terms. The CBDCs are just one potential use case here. There's a lot more use cases, right? For businesses that might want to launch their own product in the blockchain, they might not just want to rely on Ethereum or Solana or one single blockchain, but maybe they will just want to rely on the overall blockchain on all different networks. And with the Quant overledger, they're able to do that, right? So sure, CBDCs is a great case study in this case, a use case in, for Quant overledger, but there is so many more use cases, and this was just a great explanation really from Gilbert Verdian, and I decided to just add a little bit more to it so you guys understand exactly the potential that the Quant and Quant overledger brings.
Why would I be interested in the central bank digital currency instead of just sending pounds, euros, whatever electronically?
I think as end users and consumers of money, we're using a system that's quite antiquated and it's built on legacy technology and legacy infrastructure. So what central bank digital currencies mean for us is a new form of money that's very digital, and it can actually do things that our previous type of money can't do.
So, I mean, what kinds of things, for example?
Money of tomorrow, which is where we're heading, is able to create new products and new payment flows that enables us to create logic around it. So what that really means is if you want to send something to another party, you can remove all the risk, create conditions like if this happens, then release the money, or take the tax out as I'm paying the money. So it really automates a lot of business workflows and consumer needs.
So if I was standing here from a traditional big bank, do you think I should be a little bit worried?
No, they're the innovators. So the big banks in the UK, Europe, and the US, they're the ones leading the drive towards CBDCs because they're actually starting to implement what that means to their payment systems and to their infrastructure.
And I think some people on the libertarian right are slightly concerned that, a digital currency could somehow be switched on or off at will, depending on the central bank or the government. Do you think that's a realistic fear, or is that not?
No, I think that's quite a naive view of what a central bank currency can do. From a regulation perspective, it's going to be the same as cash. So it will be treated as a digital form of cash. It can be used the same way as cash can be used in any transaction across the country. And CBDCs actually give you more privacy than previous payment systems. So there's a lot of concern around privacy and monitoring and all those sort of things.
Now, to be dead honest here, I'm going to have to disagree, right? You cannot get more private than cash, right? I mean, let's be real here, right? Central bank digital currencies, I mean, we don't really know what it is to an extent, right? We have not exactly seen it on how it's going to be rolled out, how it's going to be implemented. But can it have more privacy than cash? No, it just can't. There's just no way it can have more privacy than cash. There's no way to go around it. So I'm not sure. Maybe there's a different take to it. Where Gilbert Burdian is coming from here. There probably is. It probably is, and I'm just mistaken here. But when you look at it in hindsight here, you got cash, you got CBDCs. Sure, we've not seen what central bank digital currencies are capable of as of yet, but cash is always going to have more privacy no matter what, because it's cash. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to explain it. It's cash. You cannot have more privacy than cash. It just doesn't make sense, in my opinion. But that's just my take on that. But central bank digital currencies, apparently, according to a lot of the individuals that have been working behind it, the privacy factor is going to be there. Now, I'm not sure by privacy what they mean by privacy. Is it private from the bank? Is it private from who? Like from the institutions? Is it private to, investigators, to authorities? I don't know. There isn't much information, but I highly doubt that it will be, right? Maybe it's private from banks and maybe your creditors and maybe to, some subscriptions. I don't know, right? Some of your purchases, some merchants, it might be, right? But to authorities, to the HMRC or to the FDA, I think, whoever it is in the USA, I forgot, right? Whatever it is not going to be privacy in that end. And I'm sorry, there's not going to be much privacy at all. And that's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on that. But yeah, very hard to take that.
Stuff that goes on-chain is not going to hold private citizen or consumer data. All of that is handled the same way as today through your commercial bank relationship. So you will have better security, better privacy, and better technology within your form of money as a CBDC.
Interesting. And then thinking about the summit itself, how would you describe it in 3 words?
Highly innovative. It's a convergence, and I think it's a global view that the UK is leading in this space.
As City AM, our newspaper, we are reaching a landmark birthday. What does it mean to you and to the fintech community more broadly?
City AM we've been a fan of for quite a while, and I think it's the voice of the UK and what the UK can do for the rest of the world.
Excellent. And Gilbert, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Guys, that brings us to the end of this interview, right? It really does. And it was a good interview because it simply just narrows down what Quant is, the future of Quant, what they're building, why they're building what they're building. And it's very well explained, right? But now back to the title, right? 10 Quant to be a millionaire. Where does this come from? Now, if you guys have watched some of their older interviews of Gilbert Burdian, one thing that pops up very often is the $1 trillion of market cap, right? Of Quant reaching $1 trillion, not just $1 trillion, but multi-trillion-dollar market cap. This has been a talking point, not just within Quant, but just in general. The CBDC market is going to explode. And by market, I simply mean projects that are building infrastructure, apps, tech that is going to facilitate CBDCs, And Quant happens to be one of those projects, right? The Quant Overledger is a product that is going to be used for exactly that. And there is no question about it. Now, the current market cap of $1 billion, right? And I'm talking about long term. When I say long term, I mean actual long term, not crypto long term, right? You know, not a couple months, not a couple years. I'm talking about a decade, right? Maybe 15 years from now, right? Once CBDCs are rolled out by 2030, which is going to be the most realistic, let's say, latest. At 2030, we're seeing CBDCs being rolled out. If you go ahead and check it, CBDCs get rolled out, $1 billion market cap to reach $1 trillion, that is going to be if I'm not wrong here, 1,000x. And very simple maths here. I mean, at the moment, you got $99. So that's one Quant is $99. Let's just say it's $100. And this is going to be very, very random maths really, but it's going to give us a good narrow down on if we do reach $1 trillion market cap, the bare minimum, you know, we take a very small percentage of the market share of trillions of dollars here. We take $1 trillion for one of the only projects at the moment. Well, there is a couple, but one of the leading projects that is building infrastructure for CBDCs. $1 trillion market cap, in my opinion, is very reasonable in 10 years time. And probably that's pushing it. It probably will be less, right? We're in the crypto world. Let's say it does reach $1 trillion market cap. That would be 1,000x from $1 billion. 99 to 100 times 1,000. That's 10,000. I'm going to go back here. That's going to be 100k. So that's one Quant. You times that by 10 Quant, that's $1 million. And I know this might look very stupid and very dumb right now, but the truth is, if we reach a couple $1 trillion market cap, which is very, very possible, not now, not next year, maybe in 5-10 years, which I think is very possible, and anyone that is involved in Quant will tell you it is very possible. It is one of the biggest bull markets that we're going to see coming up. And it won't just end there. CBDCs will be, in what I believe, is going to turn into a decentralized stock market, or like a crypto stock market for a lot of these crypto projects, you know. And I do feel like that Quant is going to be one of those projects that is going to lead the way, just because of the infrastructure, just because of how they were built and how regulated they have been. They're not the traditional project out here. Like a lot of them that have come along, they are a serious project with serious infrastructure, a serious team, and they are a serious company, right? And when we look and compare the rest of the projects that are building interoperability products, Quant is leading the way. And if we're going to enter $1 trillion market, we look at a future valuation of $1 trillion, it is very possible that 10 Quants will be enough to make you a millionaire in 10 to 15 years. And that is my personal prediction. Now, do I think 10 to 15 Quant, you know, is like, should you aim for that? I mean, 10, 15, I mean, you're going to go ahead and buy 10 Quant right now. That is going to be less than $1,000, right? $997. So as an investment, really, it isn't going to be much for a large cap crypto project, right? Me, myself, I mean, if you guys have known, it's one of those projects I have the most money in. One of those projects that I believe in the most, and I believe to be one of the safest 5 to 10x's. That's not financial advice. Please do your own research. My personal opinion. But with that being said, that does bring us to the end of it. I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.